Hey, what's up Musers? This is John at Muse for You, here to help you build awesome websites without code. And in this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a wedding invitation website using Adobe Muse and widgets from museforyoushop.com. So I have this website here, and I'm going to go to File, I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser. And here we're using a few widgets from museforyoushop.com. This first effect here is the SVG draw widget, where it draws the save the date kind of logo here. And then we have the animator widget, and it fades in the entire image here. And then this image that we have here is from unsplash.com. And here these particles are using the particles.js widget from museforyoushop.com. So we have these little circle particles just moving around here within the image. And if we scroll down, we have the contact form. This was created in Adobe Muse. So they can put their name, email, message, and then how many in your party, and the user can check 1, 2, 3, or 4, and then they can click submit, and it'll get sent to the email that was included for this contact form. And then the user can click RSVP, and it'll bring them down to the contact form here. Okay, so it's a fairly simple website, but visually it's very nice with the particles here, and the SVG draw and the animator add a nice effect when the user first goes to the website. So not only do we have it for desktop, I've created a tablet version. So I'll preview the tablet in Adobe Muse. And here we have the tablet version. It's much more simpler. It just has the image here, and then the contact form, and the same for the mobile version. And there you go. And I'll preview this in Adobe Muse, and looks good. So we have the image there and the contact form. So in this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to recreate this website. It should take about 10 minutes, but it's a very nice website. And if you are having an event or a wedding, this could be very useful for you. So let's begin. So the first thing I'm going to do is download this background image. So I'm going to go to unsplash.com, and I'm going to search for wedding in the search for photo section. And then here's the image I use, so I'll click on it. Then I'll click download, and then I'll right click save image as, and I have a new folder here, and I'm just going to call this Muse for You image -1. And there we have the image. Now I'll go to that folder, and here's the image. And the first thing I want to do is reduce the size of this image, because if we right click and we click on get info, the image is 4,182 by 2,777, and it's 2.1 megabytes. That's fairly large for a website. The most we want to have an image is probably like 500 kilobytes. If you can manage that. Sometimes they have to be a bit bigger, but we're going to try to get this image to about 500 kilobytes. So to do that, I'm going to right click, open with, preview, and I'll go to tools, adjust size, and here I'll say 2048. I say 2048 because that's kind of the default size that Adobe Muse resamples an image that you place into Adobe Muse. Because we're placing it in a rectangle, I'm just going to resize it myself, because when you place it in a rectangle, Adobe Muse doesn't resample the image to make it smaller. So we want to do it ourselves so that the image isn't too large on our website. So I've reduced the width to 2048, and it automatically reduces the height to 1,360, and it comes out to 428 kilobytes. It was 2.1, and it reduced it by 49%, and now it's 428 kilobytes. So I'll click OK, and then I'll click Command S to save, or you can go File and Save to save the image. So now we have our image, the size is reduced, and we can place it into our Adobe Muse, website. So I have a blank website here, and I'll just go here to the blank website. And to add this image to the background, I'll simply click on Browser Fill, then I'll click on Add Image, and then I'll go to that folder, and I have the image here, Muse for You image 1. And there's the image, and for the fitting we want to scale to fill and position it in the center there, and we don't want scrolling on because we want the image to stay fixed and not scroll. If we had scrolling on, the image would stretch and it wouldn't look very good. So that's the first part of the website. The next part, I'm going to do is add the particles.js widget. And before I do that, I'm going to sample kind of this this wheat here in the image. So to do that, I'm going to go to browser fill. For color, I'm going to click the color drop down, and I'm going to select the eyedropper tool here, the sample color tool, and I'm going to sample kind of that yellow or that wheat color there. And then to save it to my swatches panel, I'll click this this icon that looks like a piece of paper, and I'll click add swatch, and then I'll click OK. So now we have that color in the swatches panel, and this will be useful when we use the particles.js widget, so we can use this color for the particles, and it matches this wheat color here, and it'll look really nice within the website. So I'm going to go to my library panel. If you don't see your library panel, I have it here in my panel section, but if you don't have it in your panel section, you can just go to Window and then click on Library, and it'll bring your library panel up here. So I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to find the particles.js widget from useforyoushop.com, and I'll click the drop down here, and then here I have it. So I'll click, hold, and drag and place onto my Adobe Muse website. So initially the size of the widget is fairly small. To make it larger, you simply click, you can drag out here in the width, or you can make it 100%. I want it to be 100%, so it fits the entire width of the browser. So I'll click the 100% width button right up here, and it stretches out the widget 100% to fit the entire width of the browser, and perfect. And it automatically adjusts the height for this widget because the width and the height are proportional for this widget. So there are our particles, and now I'm going to go to my particles widget options, and I'm going to change the particle color to this yellow that we sampled. And the link, I'm going to remove the links because I don't want any links. And I'm going to enable random opacity and enable opacity animation, so it looks like some of the particles are fading in and out to add like this really kind of interesting effect to the background. And that's it. That's all I had to do for this widget. We don't need to change the stroke color because we removed it. I do want the background transparent, and we don't need to worry about the link color here because we removed the link between the particles. So now if I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, we have these really nice particles just kind of fading around. And one thing I want to do as well, because I hover my mouse and it repulses the particles, it moves them around, so I don't want that. So here under Enable Interactivity on Hover, I'm going to uncheck this, and Enable Interactivity on Click, I'm going to uncheck that. Okay, so now I'm going to go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and perfect. So the particles are just moving, and they don't have any interactivity with the mouse, and it looks really nice within the image there. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is add that image that we initially had on the first website. So to do that, I'm going to go to that image. I downloaded it from Dollar Photo Club. It's not Dollar Photo Club anymore, it's actually Adobe stock, but because I subscribed earlier, I do have access to it. But yeah, I downloaded the image from Dollar Photo Club, and this is the image here. And so I'm going to do some editing to this image. So I'm going to right click on the .eps file here. I'm going to right click, open with Adobe Illustrator, and I'll say yes here. And then here we have the image. So I'm just going to delete a few things here. And initially the image is very small, so I'm just going to copy the image. So I'm going to hit Command C to copy. I'm going to create a new artboard, so I'll go to File, New, and I'll create a 500 by 500 pixel artboard, and then I'll paste, and we can see that image was like 10 pixels by 10 pixels. It was really small, but I'll make it larger. I'll say width, I'll say 500. Looks good. So because the height is bigger than the width, it goes off the artboard, but we can easily fix that by going to Object, Artboards, Fit to Artwork Bounds, and then the artboard covers the entire image, or the image, or the artboard gets larger to fit the entire image inside the artboard. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is change the color because the color is fairly light. Because our background image here in Adobe Muse is kind of that similar color, I want to make that color a little bit different here. So what I'm going to do is select pretty much everything. Okay, so I'm just going to select the elements that I want to change the color to. Okay, looks good. I'll change this up here and that there. So I've selected all the elements, and for the color I'm going to say I'll say black. So I'll just make it kind of black there, just to make it darker, and I'll click OK. And there it is. So the image is now black, but we have this text here, and for the text, first I'm gonna click on the text, and I'm gonna right click and ungroup, and then I'll make the text white. Okay, so the text is white. We have these little things here that I need to make white as well. Click OK, and then this text up here, I'll make it white as well. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We've changed the color of the image here. So it says save the date for the wedding of Mary and David, formal invitation to follow. Looks good. So now what I want to do is go to File, Save for Web, because I want to save it as a PNG and a .svg, so I can use the SVG draw widget and the animator widget. So we have the PNG, so I'll click Save, and then I'll go to that folder, and I'll say Muse for You, image 2, and then I want to create the outlines. So what I'm going to do, because I only want to outline this save the date image, I don't want the top or the bottom, so I'm going to actually delete this this bottom part here and this top part, and we just now have this image. So I want to create the outlines for this. So to do that, I'll select the entire image, so I'll hit Command A to select everything, and we have a few things here that we don't need. So I'll select all of it, and to make it an outline, I simply go to the fill right up here in Adobe Illustrator. I click the drop down and I say none for fill, and then for the stroke, I'll give it a stroke of 1, and the stroke color is black, so that's good, and that's it. So we have the stroke there. So now I'll save it as an SVG, so I'll go to File, Save As, and I'll save it as image 2, and then down here Format, I'll say SVG, then I'll click Save, and then this all looks good. If you're not sure about these options, you can just look at these options here that I have, and you know, you can use these options and they work really well. So I'll click OK, and now we have our SVG and our .png. So I'm going to go back to Adobe Muse, I'm going to go to my folder, and I'll click back here, and we have the image 2 here, so I'm going to double click, and this is the image here. It looks good. One thing I noticed is that the little white lines here got deleted, and actually I think that's okay for this example, so I'll just leave it like that. But in the original, if I go back to the original, it kind of had like these black markings here. So actually let's fix that real quick. So I'll go to Adobe Illustrator, and let me just undo everything I did here, and okay, and then I'll redo there. Okay, perfect. So I have these little markings here, and I'll just change that to white. Okay, click OK. Yeah, so we have those markings there. Looks good. So I'll go to File. Oh, and this text here needs to be white as well, so I'm actually glad I went back here to redo this. So I'll click OK, and we have that text there white. Everything else looks good. So I'll go to File, File, Save, and then it was image 2, Muse for You image 2. So I'll click Save, and I'll click Replace. Okay, perfect. So I'll go back to Adobe Muse, I'll go to my folder, and then here I have Muse for You image -2. So I'll click, hold, and drag. Yeah, to place it onto the Adobe Muse website, I'll just simply click, hold, and drag and place it on there. Alright, perfect. Looks good. So there it is, and if I preview this in the browser, I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, we have that image there, and we have the particles there as well. Okay, so I'll bring this up a little bit higher too, maybe to about there. So the next thing I want to do is bring in the SVG draw widget. So to do that, I go to my library panel, and I'll go down to SVG draw widget 1.1, and I'll click, hold, and drag and place onto my Adobe Muse website. Then here I'll click the widget options, I'll click Add File, and then I'll select that SVG that we saved, which was Muse for You image -2.svg. And the one thing I want to do is grab the width and height of this image. So the width is 500 and the height is 855. So for the SVG draw, I want to make it those exact dimensions. So 500 by 855. So I click on the widget, I go to width, I say 500, and then for the height, I say 855. um, that's not right. 855. Okay. Okay, very good. So now I can place this SVG draw right on top of the PNG image that we placed. Now this is very important because what we're going to use a combination of the SVG draw and the animator. So I have it there, and it's actually not lined up perfectly in the middle. All right, it's in the middle, and that's in the middle there. Okay, so I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and perfect. There we go. If we can't see like a distinction between the lines drawing and the image, that's good. That means they're exactly on top of each other. So what we want to do now is bring in the animator widget. So I'll bring in the animator widget, have it right down here, and I'll bring in the animator initial. So I'll click, hold, and drag and place onto my Adobe Muse website, and that's all we need to do. So now I'm just going to move the SVG draw a little bit so I can grab the PNG image that's back here, and I'm going to go to graphic styles. If you don't see the graphic styles panel, you can just go to window and click on graphic styles. So I'll click on graphic styles, and down here we have this icon that says create a new style. So I'll click there, then I'll double click and I'll say animate one. Okay, so now this animator is triggering this image. So I'll go to my animator initial here. For the first animation, you want to put the initial, and then for the second animation, you want to put the additional. So the graphic style name here is animate one, so we assigned this graphic style name to the image. So we want it to fade in. So for the animation, we want it to fade in, and we want it to last, let's say 12 seconds to have a really smooth fade in. And that's it. So then I'll bring this back up, the SVG draw, I'll bring it back up over the image, and I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and SVG draws, and the image fades in. So again, we don't have it perfectly aligned, so let me just align it again. So the y-axis is 58, so I'll just manually enter it in here, and that should do it. So I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and perfect. It perfectly aligns, the image fades in, and we have saved the date here. Looks nice, very good. And I'm actually going to fade out the SVG draw after 12 seconds as well, so I'll toggle the fade out so we can just have the image nice and clean at the end. So one more time, I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser. We have the SVG drawing, and we have the image fading in. Looks good. And the other thing I want to do is bring the particles to the front. I want the particles to be in front of everything, so I'm going to right click, arrange, bring to front on the particles.js widget. So again, I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and now the particles are on top of everything, and they hover over the image as well. Alright, looks good. So the next thing to do is the contact form. So to create the contact form, I'll just go in Adobe Muse, I'll click on Object, Insert Widget, and I'll click on Form, and then I'll create a simple contact form, and I'll just click in here, and it looks good. At first it's not very styled, as we can see here, and I'm just going to center it right in the middle. So what we want to do is add quite a bit of styling to this. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a rectangle and just put it behind the contact form so we can see the contact form a little better. I'll make the rectangle black, and for the fill I'll set the opacity to, let's say, 50%, like so, and then I'll click Arrange, Send to Back. So I'll send this darker area to the back, and now I'll start styling this contact form. So for the name, I'll just double click in here. There's a name section, so I'll double click until I've selected it, and then I'll double click again until I've selected the text within this area. So now I'll make the text white, and for the font I'll say Alex Brush, we'll use that font, and I'll make it a little bit bigger, maybe 18, and that looks good. And the same for the text inside here, inside the text boxes. I'll say Alex Brush, and I'll say white, and I'll say 18 as well, or we can leave it at 14, and yeah, we'll make it white there. So we've made it white, looks good. And then for the text boxes, I'm going to click on the text box. So I'll just click a few times until I've selected the text box. I'm going to make no border, or actually, yeah, I'll have a border. we're gonna set the border. Actually, if we click on stroke here, no, sorry, excuse me. The first thing I want to do is go to fill and set the fill color to none. And then I want to click on stroke, and I want to unconstrain the strokes by clicking this link button here. And I want to remove all the strokes except the bottom stroke. So for the bottom stroke, I'll give it a stroke width of 3. And now we just have a line underneath the text, the label. So that looks good. And I'll just move a few things around here. And the submit button I'll put in the center. And I'll bring this down here a little bit, like so. And I will make this a little bit bigger, like that. And I'll actually center the labels. That's better. And I'll align the labels to the center. So I'll go to my align tool to the right, and then I want to align it to the content area. So I'll, so I'll align it. I'll just click the align horizontal centers, and I'll do that for all these labels here. Okay, so that's nice and centered, and I'll do this for the submit button as well. I'll click align and then center. Perfect. All right, so I'll just move some of this down like so. So we have a little bit more space between the text boxes. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, looks good. So we have our contact form, and I'll just give more area to this contact form, because the last thing I want to do is create a text box that says how many in your party, and allow the user to check off 1, 2, 3, or 4. So I'll just go to my text tool, and I'll create my text tool here to the left, and I'll create a text box, and I'll say how many in your party. I'll highlight this. I'll select Command A to highlight it. Then I'll go to my font. I'll select Alex Brush. I'll make it 24, and the font color I'll say white. So that looks good, and I'll just align it over here to the left. I'll bring this down a little bit more as well. And now in the contact form, I'll click the contact form, and then I'll click the blue circle with the arrow. And then here for add custom fields, we can add a checkbox group. So I'll click checkbox group, and actually we don't need a checkbox group. I'm just going to add 4 checkboxes. So here where it says add custom fields, you just click checkbox, and I'll do that 4 times. So we have our checkboxes here, and I'll just select them by holding down shift and grabbing them there. All right, so I've selected them all, and then I'll just align it there to the left, and that's it. So now for the checkbox label, I'm just going to say 1, 2, 3, and 4. And perfect. So we have our contact form, and the visitor can let you know how many are in the party for the invitation. And I'll just add some more space here by grabbing this tab here, so we have a little space between the contact form and the bottom of the page. All right, so that looks good, and I'm actually just going to bring it down a little bit more. I'll hold down shift and click the down arrow to bring it down. Looks good. And the last thing I want to do is add an RSVP text up here that links to the contact form. So to do that, I'll grab my text tool here to the left, and I'll just drag out, create some text, and I'll say RSVP, and I'll make this Lotto here, or Lotto, let's do Lotto Light. So I'll just find it, Lotto Light, and I'll say 24, and I'll center it, and then I'll pin it to the top right and just kind of place it right up here. Looks good. And the next thing I want to do is use the font smoother widget from useforyoushop.com, and this just makes the fonts look really good. So if I preview this now without the font smoother, and I'll click OK, yeah, that looks good. And I scroll down, we can see we have some more formatting to do here that we'll work with, but the fonts aren't as smooth as I'd like here for the contact form or the RSVP. So before I add the font smoother, I'm just gonna, we want to change some of this formatting here. Bring this down a little bit. That's better. And then I'll click on the text box here, and for the different states, the multi-line text input, I want to click on each of the states, and for the fill, I want the fill, actually we'll set it to white. So I've just done a little bit of formatting, so I'll go to File, Preview Page, and Browser, and when the user clicks, we have the box there, and they can enter their information. Alright, looks good. So that's the contact form. So now I'll add the font smoother widget. So I'll go to my library panel, and then I'll just click font smoother light. I'll click, hold, and drag and place onto my Adobe Muse website. So I'll go to file, or I hit Command Shift D, but you can go to, let me try that again, file, preview page in browser, and there we go, the fonts look a lot nicer. Okay, so now I want to add an anchor point right here in the right above the contact form. So in Adobe Muse, I'll click the anchor link here, and I'll place it right in here, and I'll label it RSVP, and I'll center it right there in the middle. So now I'll click on the RSVP text here, and for hyperlinks, I'll click add or filter links, and I'll say RSVP. Okay, I'll go to file, preview page in browser, and if I click RSVP, it takes me to the contact form. Perfect. So that's it. That's it for creating the desktop version of the site. So the user can fill out the information and say how many are in the party. And oh, we didn't style this link, the submit button. So let's do that real quick. So I'll just double click on the submit button, and I'll change the text to Lotto Light, or excuse me, to Alex Brush, and we'll make it a little bit bigger, 24, and that looks good. We can leave the color just like that. We can make the submit button a little bit bigger. Perfect. So I'll go to file, preview page in browser. We have the SVG draw, we have the animator fading in the image, we have the particles.js widget here with the particles. If I click RSVP, it goes to the contact form, and we can submit, and it'll go to the email. You want to make sure that in the contact form that you insert the email you want it to go to in the email to section here. And after sending, you can send the user to any page you'd like. So you can create a new page and have the visitor go to that page after sending the contact form. Okay, so that's it for the desktop version. So now I'll quickly create a mobile and tablet version. So we'll do the tablet version first. So I'll go to tablet here, or first I went to plan view in Adobe Muse, and I'll click on tablet, and I don't want to copy anything from the desktop, so I'll click OK. And here we have our tablet page. So I'm going to fill this page with the background. So I'm going to go to browser fill, click on add image, click on the image there, and then I'll scale to fill, position it in the center, and no scrolling. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is simply go to my Adobe Illustrator file and just copy the sections I want for the tablet version. So I'll copy these first two sections, the top and bottom, and let me just try to, there we go, I got selected it, and I'm just going to hold down Command C to copy. I'll go back to Muse and I'll select Command V to paste, and perfect. So we have that there, and it pastes into Adobe Muse as a scalable vector graphic, and it just looks really nice. It retains the quality 100%, and almost all devices now support SVG images. So that looks good there. And I also want to select Mary and David here. Okay, and then I'll paste that in there, and looks good. And I'll just zoom out, I'll hit Command minus, and we'll make this a little bit smaller, like so. And I'll put that right there. Looks good. So now I'm just going to copy the contact form from the desktop version. So I'll go to the desktop version, and I'll just copy this entire thing. So I'll select it, and I'll hit Command C to copy. I'll go to my plan view, I'll go to the tablet here, and then I'll hit Command V to paste. And there it is. That is all. Our tablet site is done, and it looks good. So the user can just go to the tablet version and fill out this information. All right. And the same for the mobile. So I'll just copy all of this, and I'll go to my phone version. So I'll go to my plan view and then phone, and I'll click OK. I'll double click in the phone home page, and I'll just paste that in there. And we do want to make it a little bit smaller. So I'll just grab this, make it a little bit smaller, center that, and then Mary and David, I'll make this a little bit smaller, and center that there. And I also want to add the background image, so I'll go to browser fill, add image, and then I'll select image 1. I'll scale to fill, position it in the center, and no scrolling. And then again, I'm just going to go back to my tablet version, and I'll just copy the contact form here. I'll go to my plan view, I'll go to phone, I'll double click in there, and I'll paste the contact form. Okay, so the only thing we need to change here is the size of this black background. So I'll just bring that in, and then I'll center the contact form. And that's it. We are done with our phone version. So now if your visitor is going to the site on phone, tablet, or desktop, they will be able to RSVP by filling out the contact form. Okay, looks good. So I'll preview this in Adobe Muse. I'll click preview and I'll click OK. That's just telling me that the Alex brush doesn't support italics, so we don't need to worry about that. So that's how it looks on phone. And actually I want to add a little bit more scroll space down here, or more space, so there's a little bit of space between the contact form and the bottom of the page. So I'll go to preview, click OK, and I'll scroll down, and perfect, and the user can fill out all the information here. Looks very good, and then they can click submit. Alright, perfect. Alright, so if we go back to the plan view and we go to tablet, and I'll preview the tablet version, I'll click OK. Let's try that again. I'll click preview. There's the tablet version. We have save the date, Mary and David, and the user can fill out the contact form. Perfect. And they can select, oh, one thing we didn't add is how many in your party. Because that was a text element, it didn't get copied with the contact form. So I'm just going to copy this, go back to the tablet version, just paste that in there, and just put it like right here. Perfect. And I'll preview that, click OK. Perfect. How many in your party, and the user can select, and we'll just move that down a little bit like that. Perfect. Preview, click OK. I'll scroll down. Very nice. We have this really nice website, and again I want to bring in the font smoother widget to get those fonts really looking good. Alright, so I'll place that in there, and one more time, preview, click OK, and perfect. Looks really nice. Alright, so now I'll go back to my phone version, and I will just add that how many in your party text there. Right there, looks good, and I'll add the font smoother as well. Okay, and I'll just place it up here. Doesn't really matter where you place it because it's not going to be visible. So I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser, or excuse me, didn't mean to do that. We'll go to Preview in Adobe Muse, and perfect. Looks good. So we have our tablet, or excuse me, our phone version, our tablet version. Looks good. And our desktop version. Okay, perfect. And with the desktop, we added more effects because desktops and browsers can handle it. So looks good. For tablets and mobile, I tend not to use as many effects because mobile phones and tablets and things like that don't always render some of these intricate effects as well. So that's it. That's how you create a wedding invitation website in Adobe Muse. I know this is a fairly long video. I did want to cover quite a bit of information and really show you how to do this. You could hire, a web designer to, you could pay a web designer thousands of dollars to do something like this, and within an hour you could create your own wedding invitation and upload it to your server. So yeah, I enjoyed making it. It was a lot of fun creating the site and showing you how to create it. So these widgets, we use the SVG draw widget, we use the animator widget, we use the particles.js widget, and we use the font smoother widget. All these widgets can be found at museforyoushop.com, and you can just click on the pop-up here when it comes up, and you can get all widgets and any new widgets I come out with for $39 a year by clicking here to subscribe, or you can subscribe with PayPal. And here you can also purchase the widgets individually. So we use the particles.js, we use the SVG draw, we use the animator, and we use the font smoother. So you can click on them individually, and you can click add to cart to purchase individually, or again you can get all widgets and any new widgets I come out with for $39 a year. So very good, by clicking here or on the home page. Alright, sounds good. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video tutorial. Again, thanks for watching. And again, I do this to help you build awesome websites without code. If you like this video tutorial, you can subscribe below. Also, in the show more section below are links to other resources, web hosting. You can download Adobe Muse, and you can also access musefreeshop.com with the links in the show more section below. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video tutorial.